Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Life as a Chad YouTube channel. And I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be. And of course, however you may be listening. I have a fun little video in store today. For a while, I contemplated whether I should ever react to this guy's channel for a variety of reasons. You guys know I have been on his YouTube channel for an interview, and the best way to describe us would be enemies. We don't like each other at all, disagree on everything, and I don't know how else to put it. That is not the case. No, he is a good guy, and we do agree on a lot of things. Quite frankly, I have not even seen most of this video, but I thought it would be interesting to react straight off the cuff about. If I do disagree, I am totally going to expose this guy for the fraud he is. Just kidding again. No, I won't push back too hard. If I had to guess, I would say, and I already know this because we've talked about it. By the way, this is all joking. I legitimately think he's a good guy, and we are friends. But if I had to guess, the only thing that we disagree on would be probably marriage right now in the current state of the West, and in particular, the proposition of marriage for men. I believe that I am a Christian, have been for a while. Recently, I have begun my transition to Orthodox Christianity. With that being said, and I do believe that in a perfect world, the best thing for men is to find a good woman to make his wife. And I believe that that's what provides the most happiness for women as well, to be wives to good men. But with that being said, now the way things are, the laws, the culture, the environment that modern day women are raised in, I believe that it is almost entirely against men. And I akin it to or liken it to running into a burning building and expecting not to come out burned, or having a wooden plank toppled over you. It's also very, very, very much more difficult than it was in years past to find a good woman. Anyway, so that's the only thing that I would guess that we disagree on. But we're going to watch this video, and I'm not even sure he's going to be talking about this in his Andrew Tate video. But we're going to be watching a little bit, not all of it, because I know how he is about his content. Hopefully he doesn't copyright this. Wouldn't be surprised if he did, but I don't think he will. We're not going to watch too much of it. Just going to watch a little bit and get his take on Andrew Tate. I am very curious myself to hear his thoughts on it. So let's take a look, shall we? Here we go. Let's get this moved up. And here we go. By the way, his YouTube channel is Kyle. Not sure how he got that username. I'm sure there's thousands of other Kyles out there, especially on YouTube. But anyways, here we go.
Be also human trafficking.
As the Tate Brothers saga is finally fading away, I think right now is a great time.
Andrew Tate was arrested. Why? For breaking out of the Matrix. Okay, maybe also human trafficking.
As the Tate Brothers saga is finally fading away, I think
it's so funny that he uses one of my videos Kyle edited. I think it's hilarious that he uses the Savannah, the girl from InfoWars who had that situation where, and you hear the noise. I think that's great. Right off the bat, I don't think the Tate saga is done. I believe that this whole situation is only going if the Tate brothers are able to get themselves out of this situation without compromising themselves to the state, to a foreign entity, to the media, if they are able, which is a big fucking if, it's a huge if, but if they are able to do so, I think that they will reach untouchable heights. And they will become, they'll become the guys who prophesized their arrest and, all of these things. I they will become bigger than ever if they're able to get out of this uncompromised. So I don't believe that the saga is coming to an end.
I think right now is a great time to reflect on the rise and fall of Andrew and Tristan Tate and give a real authentic conservative critique of them. Because there's this joke that, oh, these leftists, it's only the leftists that are critiquing him. But no, I'm a real conservative. Andrew and Tristan.
True, I can attest to that. Me and Kyle have had many conversations. I believe we're both real conservatives. I don't want to speak for Kyle, but I'm a paleo conservative. If I had to guess, I'd say there's a good chance he is too. But to be honest, I don't know for sure. With Andrew Tate, you know, the rise and the fall, he's definitely in a tough spot right now.
And Tate are not real conservatives, and that is a problem. I mean, just look into the history of how they became famous. They always wanted fame and wealth, and they eventually got that. How did they become very wealthy? Off of operating a cam girl site. They were literally...
All right, let's stop it there. That's true. That is fucking cringe. It is. And, you know, the reality of the situation is that the Tate brothers kind of they kind of operate like the modern day leftist regime does, where they create problems like debt or, you know, other situations. Let's just say the medicine that they asked all of us to take over the past 2 years, and then they create the initial problem, and then they come up with the solutions to the problems that they created. For the Tate brothers, they were initially a part of the problem of simping, of men spending thousands of dollars on these cam girls who they would never see in real life, who they would never physically touch or anything. It was all an illusion. They are... Not only did they add to it, they were probably the biggest culprits of it. So, and then years down the line, now they're preaching about how men should be strong, how they shouldn't simp, how they, none of these girls actually care about them. They just see them as customers. It doesn't make what they have said false. Like the things about, these women not being into these men who pay virtually for sex workers and things like that. They see them only as customers. They don't see them as legitimate options, things like that. It doesn't make those statements wrong, but it is definitely hypocritical for sure. For sure it is. There's no getting around that. And I've known that for a long time. By the way, if you're not aware of me, I have called out the red pill and some of these, top G's on YouTube at least 3 times, and not necessarily any person in particular, but just the theology, things that I see in the red pill that fall short, that are not as accurate as some may believe.
Put these pretty girls in front of other guys, and they were stealing money from other guys. That's how they became wealthy.
Chicks would sit there and hit a keyboard that wasn't plugged in. And me and my brother, and eventually some staff I trained, would do all the talking. The girls were just famoosers, just laughing and doing this, their titties out, and they were talking to ice cold hustlers. We were taking their money, all of it. And they'd come and say, well, what kind of, all of it. I had these guys selling their houses, life savings, loans, all of it to me. Give me it all.
And then they...
Damn, Kyle, good fucking poll, dude. Dang. Wow, great poll. Dang, this is the first I had seen that clip. That does not sound good. That sounds pretty shitty. That's pretty cringe. Now, I guarantee if Tate was watching this, if one of the Tates were watching this, and I'm pretty sure they've made this argument in the past themselves. If they were watching this, though, let's just say hypothetically, they are watching Life as a Chad's reaction to Kyle's critique of the Tate brothers, they would say, well, that's not our problem. That is because they're weak men, and that's on them. If they're weak men, they're weak men. It is what it is. That has nothing to do with us. It's their fault that they are such pussies. And I would say that there's probably some truth to that. But again, if you're truly trying to help and break these men from the matrix, break them from the bonds that hold them down, if you're truly trying to do that, then you wouldn't be a part of the system that holds them down. And it's a big part of it. A huge reason that men and the West are so weak is because they're sitting around all day, masturbating and putting all of their masculine energy into a virtual fake existence, which is sad.
They started promoting their lavish lifestyle, and they broke the TikTok algorithm. They had their videos pushed everywhere, and people loved their videos so much because they were politically.
And by the way, the Tates are not the first people to do that. Many, and this is why the red pill has had such a up and down, tumultuous existence, because it has been exposed many a times that almost all of these red pill guys, not every single one, but a lot of them, post these pictures where they're standing next to a Lambo, post themselves next to hot chicks, only to find that the reality is much different. Now, in the Tate's case, I would say that they do truly live the life that they portray. Is it amplified on social media? Possibly, probably. But they still do live much closer to that lifestyle than other red pill individuals do, from what I've been able to see. Okay. So, look at the freeze frame on Kyle. I love you, bro. So, that's definitely true. And the Tate brothers are not the first ones to have done that.
Incorrect. They said some things that were true. They said some things that were not conservative, that were not good, like breaking out of the matrix. Okay, yes, let's, wake up to reality. But then they're like, oh yeah, let's go be a hedonist. Let's just go, 10 Bugattis. Oh, consumerism. It's like, it's a false dichotomy. And that is the main problem.
That's a great point, Kyle. Great point. Great point. But guys, seriously, I did not watch this video before I decided to react to it. It's a great point. They do largely push forth the idea and the value of capitalism, consumerism, and I would say the modern Western lifestyle. And I've said in previous videos, because people have commented to me saying, they'll be like, life is a Chad. What because their perception of what a Chad is, or what a masculine man is one thing. It's one trope. And I always respond to that. Number one, I don't give a fuck. But number two, there are multiple ways that a man can be masculine. There's not just one way for a man to be masculine. Okay. There are some common traits, like inner traits such as strength, a stoic nature, fairness, justice. There are some inner strengths that would be applied to masculinity, but how that is represented out in the world, there are different representations of it. It just the example I have in my mind is, on one hand, you can have a guy like Andrew Tate, who I still, regardless of what we're listening to here, I would still consider him masculine. Okay. And on the other, I look at a guy like Jay Dyer, who is a largely spiritual man, maybe not as athletically gifted, maybe not running around with all these hoes like Andrew Tate is, but I would still consider him a masculine man. Some of the most masculine men that you will meet are these very spiritual, in touch with their purpose and who they are as men, in touch with God. In fact, I think even Kyle would argue this, that the most masculine men are godly men. more specifically, Christian godly men. So there's multiple ways that masculinity can be expressed in the world. It's not just one thing. And with Andrew Tate, it is a false dichotomy as far as the example Kyle put forth here. But because on one hand, he is promoting this idea of unplugging from the matrix, but the world that Andrew Tate is so heavily involved in, and the things that he puts forth into the world, the energy he puts forth into the world, is largely attached to Western ideals, consumerism, promiscuity, things like that. Andrew Tate is a very half and half guy type of guy. There's that part, and then there are the parts of like, yeah, he is kick-ass. He is a world-renowned kickboxing champ. He is he does have courage. He does have some of these things that are like, yeah, that is pretty masculine. So yeah, very interesting. But I would say largely, I would agree with that statement.
Spent all their time preaching against degeneracy in the West. I mean, they moved to a country.
Okay, and that's the I'll make this point quick, and that's the main thing here is they preach against degeneracy, but they themselves are some of the biggest culprits of this degenerate lifestyle.
Like Romania. And this is a problem, is they want something good. They want a traditional society. They like going to the villages. There's lots of, pretty, normal girls in good families. But they want that girl. They want that society so they can have it for themselves, for their own pleasure, so they can corrupt it for themselves. Be honest with yourself. Would you want your daughter dating Andrew Tate?
Now, Sneeko, motherfucker Sneeko said yes. He said that he would want his daughter dating Andrew Tate. That's a good question. Would I want my daughter with Andrew Tate? Oh, fuck. That's a tough one. Like I said previously, it depends on what I wanted most for my daughter. If I wanted her to be with a strong man that could take care of her, then Andrew Tate, I think, would be a just fine option. But if I wanted her to be with a guy who was going to be devoted to her, and care for her and mainly her, he would probably not be the best option. So the answer would be, it depends. And as somebody who does not have a daughter, it's hard for me to answer that. I do have a sister. I would say I would lean on probably not. Okay. But I'm not fully willing to say yes or no one way or the other. I would say probably not. Okay. I would say you could do worse, but you could probably do better in certain regards as well.
Tristan Tate. No, you wouldn't, because you know exactly what they're going to do.
Okay, Kyle, I guess you answered it for me. No, I wouldn't.
Your daughter. You think he would be a good husband to your daughter? Would he cheat on your daughter? Would he?
But see, again, in the end, Andrew, and this is the big thing about the red pill, is they are just living their lives accordingly, or what they would say at least. They're just living by the rules that the West has given to them. And, I know I have made videos about this as well. You have a lot of these, you have a society that pushes promiscuity. If you live in the West as a man, you have women out here who are living promiscuous lifestyles themselves and are not necessarily looking for one guy and one guy only. So is that fair to you to have that expectation the other way around? I would argue maybe not. I mean, or it's at the very least unrealistic, because, a famous quote that is said in the red pill is that women want marriages, but they don't want to be wives. They don't know how to be wives. They don't know how to be mothers. So anyways,
be a present father for your grandkids and instill traditional values in them. We all know what the reality is, and the problem is that why they become so popular is because they're saying some true things, and they're a reaction to toxic femininity that exists, and toxic masculinity does exist. Even though that term is totally overused nowadays, there is real
Yeah, I would say toxic masculinity exists, but I wouldn't say Andrew is the example of that myself. I would say an example of that would be some of the like these femboys and things like that. That would be my example of toxic guys who betray their masculine nature. That to me is toxic masculinity. And yes, I agree with Kyle. Absolutely toxic femininity exists.
masculinity and real femininity. But this liberalism versus Tate Brothers dichotomy is a false dichotomy. That is the biggest takeaway. A lot of guys are aimless, they're lost, and someone like Andrew Tate shows up on their For You page and it gets them to get their crap together, to start working out, to care about money, to get off drugs, to be more productive. And then these people feel a connection to Andrew Tate because it's like, hey, they helped me escape the Matrix.
So, anyways, we're going to stop it there. I know Kyle wouldn't want me to react to his entire video, so I'll respect my brother. But yeah, I largely agree with Kyle on this. You know, there are some great things that the Tate brothers have done, and the funny thing is, what they have pushed forth was like common knowledge at any time period before, I would say, the 1980s. It's not like it's profound knowledge. You know, it's been a well understood concept. Like, this was never new information to me, because this is something that my father instilled in me, grandfather, and I was lucky to have those examples. I guess for some other guys, they wouldn't have this example, so this information would come across as just crazy and unreal. But it's really just common sense. It absolutely is. Eat right, find your purpose, have good discipline, stay fit, go to the gym, build muscles, you know, try and not be a dork, have some game, both towards women and towards men, as far as friendships and building friendships and things like that. You know, the trope is money, frame, game, and muscles. Money, frame, game, and muscles. And that's true. Like, those are the things as a man you should be working on. Now, ultimately, what it comes down to is what importance do you place on each? Okay. For the Tate brothers, I would say they place the value on money way above all the other things. That is the thing that they place money above all the other three things that I just said. For Kyle, I would say, you know, he places a large importance on your spirituality and your happiness through that. And I would also add that as a fifth thing. Money, frame, game, muscles, and your faith. Those are the 5 things that men should be working on. And if you even give just a little bit attention, consistent attention to all 5 of those things, your life will be way better. And I agree with that 100%. For me, it's, you know, in sports, we were always advised to have this list in our head of things that were important to us and have them numbered. And I have always had my entire life, number 1, my faith with God. That is number 1 and has always been number 1. Number 2, you know, would be family. Number 3 would probably be my physical health. 4 would probably be money. And 5 would probably be game. You know, I've never really had to work much on game because I've always been a naturally very social individual. But it's important to have those things. So again, closing statement here, the Tate brothers, as Kyle said, there's things that they have been right about that, quite frankly, are pretty much common sense. And there's things that they have been wrong about as well. And they have been able largely to capitalize on weak men searching for masculine role models. And even for me, like, I'm happy if a youngster comes by my video and gets good advice that's applicable to him. But ultimately, I would tell that same individual to think about that information he has taken in, and really ask himself if it's applicable to him, if it's true, if it's moral, if it's good. You need to be able to think for yourself. You need to find what works for you in your life within the 5 things that I just named. And so again, there's things that have worked, things that haven't for Andrew Tate. He has largely been able to capitalize on weak guys searching for role models, and therefore, because they are so impressionable, the same reason that feminism is able to seep into a lot of these weak men is the same reason that they can find no fault with Andrew Tate. When you look at it, it is hypocritical that he ran a cam girl business. It is cringe that he ran a cam girl business and took so much money from weak men. That is definitely too bad. So I'm very curious what you guys have to think. I think Kyle gave a pretty fair critique. And I think I gave a fair critique of Kyle's critique of Andrew. So let me know what you guys think. Again, you guys can watch the original video on Kyle's channel. But be sure that you like, comment, and definitely subscribe to my channel. Help a fellow patriot out. We're going to be getting there. Yeah. We're going to keep rolling here. I'm grateful for all of the support. This channel is growing immensely, and we're going to keep this rolling, y'all. So last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. In fact, our feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. See you kings next time. Bye-bye.